Tomorrow, we're going to have our very first social studies test. And so today, I'm just going to take a few minutes to review the things that we learned in social studies this last 2 weeks. And I'm going to give you a couple things to do after we end our video. One of the things that you will do after we end our videos, you will have a assignment, and it's called a study guide. I'm going to walk you through that study guide on the video. But after the video, I want you to do the study guide. The reason I want you to do that is I want you to be familiar with the test and the kinds of questions that we're going to have in our test tomorrow. So go ahead today, do your study guide. If you have any questions with your study guide and think, I don't really understand that, I don't remember those answers, let me know. You can email me, and then I can help you a little bit more with that so that I know that you are ready for our test on Friday. So that's one thing after today's video. The second thing after today's video is I, for fun, sent you a vocabulary. And a vocabulary is kind of like a little music-y rap thing. I think we did it in reading one day, maybe a week or two ago. And this one is on oceans. Well, we've watched it in class, and the class just really loved it. And it taught us a lot about which ones are the largest oceans, which ones are the cold oceans, in a fun song. So I assigned that for you. But if you don't see where I assigned it, log on to Clever. It's the same passcode for your Google Classroom as Clever. And you will see vocabulary, and then you will get to see the oceans song there. However, I did assign it for you. So you should find it through an email. Through vocabulary will let you know. So in review for some of the things that we learned in social studies the last 2 weeks about our world and our planet, we know that God created a beautiful world for us to enjoy, and He gave us things called natural resources. He wants us to use those resources wisely so that we can keep our earth beautiful, and so that there will be things for us to use so that we can have a better life and a more enjoyable things in life. So God wants us to use those resources wisely. And in our world that God made us, these are God made the plains, which is kind of the flat lands, right, of the lands. And then we've got the valleys and low hills. Then we have beautiful mountains. Unfortunately, we have to travel for mountains in Florida, but God did make beautiful mountains for us to enjoy. And then He made the desert, and there we'll find cactus and some camels. So these are some of the types of land that God made. Now, our land doesn't look this clear because man has changed the land. Man used resources that God gave, like trees, to change the land. God used, people used the world that God made. They use land one way in the city, and they use land another way in the country. So in the country, man will make the land perfect for them. They will grow their crops, they'll put a farm on it. They've changed it by adding farms and the barns, things like that. In the city, man has changed the land as well. In the city, we have a lot of what? If you think of a city, what do we have a lot of? Did you say buildings, cars, streetlights? Those are things that make the city run well. And we need the cities. We need the big cities and we need the farms. So man, hopefully, will use the resources that God gave us to make our land run better, work better, and we'll use our resources wisely because man does change the land that God made us. Um, I think that's it for new material, but different. We talked about this the other day with our weather map, that the weather changes depending on where we live and depending on seasons. We talked about that already, but I wanted to just kind of recap that. Our four seasons are, I bet you already know the four seasons. Can you tell me the four seasons? Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Those are our four seasons. And not every area of land, the seasons feel the same. In Florida, our seasons for winter don't feel very cold, not as cold as they are up north. But our summers are so hot in Florida because we are in the tropics. So different areas of land have different kinds of weather. All right, so let's just show you quickly what the video will look, our study guide will look like. You're going to work on the study guide. Let me see if I can get that to work. There we go. All right, so mom can help you with this. And I don't want it to take too long of your time, but I want to make sure you know this very well. So mom can help you read the sentences because it's a lot of reading. And our test tomorrow will also be some reading. If it gets too long, the study guide, you do not have to answer on the paper. Mom could just ask you the questions and you can answer them out loud to mom. That is fine with Mrs. Axel. I don't want you to work too long on your study guide. I just want you to know your study guide. So if mom wants to sit here and read the questions, you could just answer. If you get stuck on something, have mom email me and say, oh, this was very difficult, and then I could try to make sure that you're ready for that for tomorrow's test. If mom asks you the questions and you just told her the answers, which is totally fine, have her send me an email. We went over the study guide. That's all they need to do. Then I'll know that you are ready for the test on Friday and that you know what's on the test. Okay? So again, I don't want you to spend too much time on the study guide. And remember, it looks like a little bit of reading. Mom will read it to you, and it'll be as long as we've gotten over everything. I think you'll do really well on the study guide and on the test tomorrow. So, how does the Bible teach us to use God's world? Well, do we use it wisely or do we use it harmfully? That might be a question, that will be a question you'll see on your study guide and on your test tomorrow. Then it'll ask you this. It says, which picture shows man changing the land? Well, this is everything in this picture is God made. So that's not how man changed the land, that's God. This picture, you will see things that are man-made, like a tractor and he's plowing down the trees. This is how man changes the land. So then you would click on that. All right. And I think you could just put in which picture shows. I guess you know what? If you're going to do it, if mom talks to you about it and you go over it, you don't have to do anything. If you're going to do it, maybe put a check or an X in there so that I'll know that that's your answer. Okay. If you decide to do it that way. Okay, there's some more questions. What are the large bodies of water called? Do you know what the large bodies of water are called? Oceans, that's right. What about the large bodies of land? What are they called? Continents. Super. Okay, so then you'll also have this, which you already know that we've gone over that. We went over that yesterday, so I know you know that. All right. This is another one. Now you'll look at that, go, oh, that looks like a lot of reading, but it will not be. Mommy can read it to you. Just make sure you are familiar with it. Okay? That's how you're going to do your study guide today. So we went over our little bit of an introduction. You're going to go over the study guide with mom, and then you will have a vocabulary video that I think you'll really love, and it'll teach you a little bit more about the large bodies of land called oceans. I will say this, if you can get on vocabulary through Clever, you also will see a really fun video on continents, and I think there is one on water cycle there. So you can go ahead and keep looking at those if you'd like for fun. How did your water cycle bags turn out? Did you get a chance to make those yesterday or this morning? Don't forget, hang them up in your window that gets a lot of sun and see if you can notice the water cycle. If you see little waters kind of bubbling up on the top of the bag, that means the water went from the bottom of your bag up. So that means there was evaporation. We know that we need the sun to heat that water to make it go up. Then if you see the water, you'll see the condensation, which are the bubbles. And if you see any water coming down, that's an example of precipitation. So I know you've done really well this last few weeks. I've seen some great work coming in. Keep that up. And tomorrow we will not have a video. You will just have an assessment to do. And I trust that you'll do really well. Let me know if there's anything that's difficult for you. I love you. And again, thank you for the hard work that you've been putting into social studies and learning how to use the land that God gave us wisely.